Morning from the top of Rondekop at Oldenburg Vineyards. It's 20 years today that we started Oldenburg, this project, and I think it's a fitting celebration in a way, because we're actually tasting two 2020s here as we're releasing our Rondekop wines, two 2020s and one 2021. Wow, that's a lot of 20s. Anyway. It's a beautiful morning. It's in autumn, post-harvest. The porcupines have been up here, and you can see that on top of Rondekop we're actually in the shade still from the sun rising behind those peaks, which is one of the features I think that we find in the wines, that sort of shortened day, shortened morning. Nic, what do we got here?
So the first one up this morning is our 2021 Stone Axe. So this is a Syrah, so 85% Syrah, but what we've done very differently this year is we've actually put in 10% of Grenache. So we're standing right here next to our Syrah vineyard, very granitic, and right at the back of us is our Grenache. So when we were blending this, I remember myself and Stefan and Jürgen sitting down and putting this wine together. We felt that the wine was there, but it just needed a bit of an aromatic lift. And that's when we came up with the great idea to actually add a little bit of Syrah, a bit of Grenache. And this Grenache behind us, this bushvine Grenache, was actually planted to be blended into the Stone Axe. But then, of course, we liked it so much that we bottled it on its own. So it's actually gone back to its rightful place. So yeah, so 18 months. I've increased the time of time in oak. 18 months in oak. And of course, you know, from this vineyard, when we prepared this vineyard, all these prehistoric stone axes came out. But Steph, tell us a little bit about what you're finding on the nose on this wine.
For me, you know, it's a bit of a subjective and biased opinion on my side, because I absolutely love and adore Syrah. It's one of my favorite cultivars to taste and enjoy and savor. And this is exactly what I love and adore about this wine. You know, this is a wine that has got all the aromatic components that are practically jumping and bursting out of a glass. And I think that's the Grenache there, just going a little bit more bursting, and the tannins are beautiful, juicy, ripe tannins already, and the acidity is just a wonderful backbone to this wine. It lifts it, and it also keeps it going for just quite a bit, and the finish, it's beautiful, just carries.
So we do get to taste it, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, we do, yeah. And the 2021 year being quite a cool year, so this was about 2 weeks later than our normal harvest, so quite a cool year. So some lovely fine tannins there, and a great way for aging.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, this is already now, from 2021, being one of the younger wines in the lineup. It's already very round and very complex. It still has enough flavor and fruit and all of that to drive for another 15-20 years very easily. For me personally, I quite like a wine like this, where I get to enjoy the fruit characteristics, still at a youthful component to it. So for me personally, I like drinking it within the window of 6 to 10 years. That's where I like it. Yeah. But this can go easily.
Yeah, a little bit of whole bunch on here, about 10% whole bunch that I've added. So the Grenache was about a third whole bunch, but a little bit less whole bunch on the Syrah. So that's giving that lovely pepperiness and that lovely nice powderiness on the tannin. So
stunning wine.
Yeah, great way to start a morning.
Yeah, that is, absolutely. We call this Breakfast of Champions. On one tasting we did, but yeah, definitely. The good news about Breakfast of Champions, we have 3 wines today.
Yeah, so. All right. So let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to give this back to you.
I think we'll give it back to the where it came from.
Okay.
Sadly. But,
Adrian?
So, right, yes. Are you pouring for me?
Yes.
Perfect, thanks. So Rhodium 2020.
Yeah, so Rhodium, of course, our right bank Bordeaux blend, and how fitting to actually be standing right here next to our brand new Cabernet Franc vineyard. So absolutely. This little vineyard on the left here has given us our first crop of Cabernet Franc this year. It's from a new clone that we're using on Oldenburg called Clone 214. And yeah, we're really excited. You know, I've just finished fermenting this tank, pressed it, and very excited about it. So of course, Rhodium Cabernet Franc based. In the 2020 blend, 60% Cab Franc, 30% Merlot, and then 10% Cabernet Sauvignon. So we've already gone back to that 10% Cabernet Sauvignon just to lift the tannin slightly on the wine. Yeah, Steph, what do you from a sommelier's point of view, what are you picking up?
You know, the thing I always need to clarify, especially when it comes to right bank Bordeaux style blends, is that this is not your typical oomph, woomph, look at me, I'm a Bordeaux blend type of wine. This is not what this is. Right bank focuses all on elegance, finesse, and is one of those wines that really showcases just I think very, very clearly the site potential. It's all about nuance and it's all about subtle flavors. This, with the Cabernet Franc, just comes with a slightly, capsicum-like flavor that comes out there. A little bit of a green peppercorn, but the Merlot brings that juiciness of red fruit there, and the Cab Sauv just brings a little bit more of that tannic lift to it, and also darker fruit profile. It's a subtle wine. It works much more on that finesse profile. And this is why I think this is one of those perfect wines that can be drunk on its own, really, but also is a real match made in heaven for food pairing potential, for subtler dishes. That's personally what I quite enjoy about this. But for me, a Cab Franc Bordeaux based blend is just something that I love and adore.
Yeah, I love all that raspberry and cranberry on the nose. And I was actually doing a lamb shank the other day, and I had this wine open, and it worked beautifully. So
Yeah, I can imagine working quite well. Yeah.
We should have brought some bacon sarnies up here.
Bacon song.
Yeah.
so 24% new oak, so really rained down the oak this year. 19 months in the French oak, 2 to 5 litre barrels.
And I like that. That puts a lot of a focus on the site, on the winemaking, on the grapes themselves, and not so much on, over oaking everything as has been done in the past 10 years ago. This is the nice new trend that I'm really enjoying. Yep. And I think that we're seeing the world over, really.
Perfect.
How do you think the just that coolness plays through into these wines, Nic?
Well, you're getting that lovely more red fruit spectrum. So because we're at 410 meters above sea level, and we've got that continental shift or continental climate that we have here with the big diurnal range, we're getting a lot of that red fruit spectrum. So the red fruit's showing it even on our Cabernets. We're getting that red fruit spectrum, and that's showing the coolness. At the moment we're standing here, it's about 10 degrees Celsius. So definitely a cool place to make wine.
Another way in which it showcases is that you don't get any of that alcoholic, flair if you put your nose into the glass. Yeah. It's not there. It's really just really well integrated. It's subtle. It adds to the flavor of the wine. It doesn't lift an alcoholic component to the wine, which I think is a really classy way of showcasing it.
Perfect.
Right.
Well, that's
there we go.
right.
Donations.
Thanks to the soil.
Okay, so next up, the 2020 Per Se Cabernet Sauvignon. Wow, look at that colour. That is a bit darker, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Cabernet being king in Stellenbosch, and the Bynhoek Valley being one of the coldest areas to produce Cabernet. So, on the Oldenburg Cabernets, we always get that little touch of little bit of herbaceousness, but sexy herbaceousness, fresh thyme, fresh margarine. But you've got that, it's a combination of red and blue fruit coming through. So what we find on our Cabernets a lot is that blue fruit, so that little bit of blueberry, blackcurrant. So slightly more oak on the Cabernets, because of course the Cabernets can handle oak, so about 55% new French oak, all 2 to 5 litre. And the barrels I'm using are all from Bordeaux, tight grain. So I think that time in oak has done it really well. 2020 slightly warmer year than the 2021 that we tasted on the Stone Axe. So slightly more of that dark fruit coming out. But I think that oak is so well integrated into the wine. I mean, you're not getting it there. It's just on the back palate.
Again, Cab has got its history with oak, and I think, again, one of those matches made in heaven that for the largest portion of our history have always been working really well with large portions of oak. And again, it's been really nice to see that trend just decline a little bit and have a little bit more finesse when it comes to Cab and working with combinations of new oak. So 55% new oak on this is not a lot for Cab. And I think it really plays into what we're trying to do here. All about the wine, all about the site, all about the terroir that is Banghoek. And this works really well.
Yeah, and this is from a single vineyard just down the road here. OV5, that Coffee Clip vineyard, which is now going in for I think it's 19th year, so it's getting there. And what's so exciting is in September last year we actually planted more Cabernet, and we've planted a new clone 23, which is a very exciting clone, which I'm looking forward to work with. And then of course in August, more Cabernet going into the ground. So just showing you how well Cabernet works in the Banguk.
Yeah. Another thing I think worth highlighting here is, again, this is not the showiest of cabs. It's something that's working with finesse, and we don't have what, for instance, for Greater Simonsburg would have with big anthocyanins, massive amounts of big black fruit flavors. It is again more about that subtlety and the more blue fruit.
And what's nice is we get a beautiful natural acidity. I mean, yes. I was at a Cabernet, Stellenbosch Cabernet Forum tasting earlier in the week, and I looked at all the analysis, and by far the lowest pH and the highest acidity on all those cabs was our cab. So that low pH just giving this wine ageability. So 15, 20 years, it's still going to be knocking around.
I don't think we're going to wait that long, but yeah. So that really speaks to the freshness that you get, isn't it? That acidity really sort of freshens that expression up.
Very much so. It speaks to those reduced sunlight hours, the valley just being 3 to 4 degrees cooler than Stellenbosch in most days, and I think it really just reiterates the fact that Rondekop and the site that we have here with the different soils is special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something to celebrate.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, look, I mean, 20 years, 2020, 2021. Cheers, guys. It's.
Cheers.
I think it's a really exciting release.
What a way to start the day.
Absolutely. Should we finish the day here as well?
Best coffee ever.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.